Hey everybody, how you doing? This is James Murphy with Evolution for Success, and welcome back to day number 4 of the 2022 goal setting process. Yes, indeed. So let's cover the quick steps, quick review, because review is mastery, and the core psychology of this is what's really important, that you take these steps and you make them work for you so that you can create the most compelling goals for the most dynamic life that you can. So part number 1 is, like I said, I put everything up here on the wall because what? Visual is memorable, that's right. And when we can see it, then it's up every day. We can add to it when we walk by, thoughts, ideas, keep jotting it down there. Always be capturing stuff, always be kind of going through this, asking yourself the questions, because that's when the inspiration comes. So the first thing that we wanted to do is, of course, I set up my quarterly calendar, or my monthly calendar for the year, quarter, whatever. And then I put up some poster board here that covers our categories of life and my purpose of life. And so if you don't know which purpose is, call me, email me down below, right? Because I have a process for that. But after that, what you want to do, of course, is develop these categories of life. And the categories of life, of course, remember, are career, relationships, physical health, finances, spiritual and emotional life. Expand or contract them however you need. I condensed mine into 4. We talked about that on the other videos. Then we want to brainstorm with question number 1, which is what's most important to me in each one of these areas? What's most important to me in my health, my finances, my career? What's most important to me in my spiritual or my emotional health? And we want to start to capture those values, right? And values are just words that carry emotion for us. Once we continue to do that, it's okay if they keep coming up over and over and over again. You want to highlight those that keep sticking. We want to do a second we don't do the second brainstorm yet. Next thing we do then is we put them in order. We want to pull out the top 3 to 5 because those are the values or the emotions that really drive all of our behaviors. Then we do the second brainstorm, which is, hey, what are all the things I could do that would allow me to have this in this, right? So what are all the things that would allow me to have more growth in my finances? What are all the things that would allow me to have more fun, playfulness, and adventure in my relationships? What are all the things I could do to allow me to have more growth and success in my business? So we want to keep brainstorming that, big, small, whatever it is, put them up here. They could be yearly, quarterly, whatever. Just throw everything up there, big, small, whatever, and throw out that conscious mind that says, well, how can you do that? Who are you to do that? Whatever. That's good stuff to clear up in my emotional clearing course. But you just want to go ahead and do that and keep doing it over and over and over again. And that's what we're going to do for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. That's why I'm doing this in September, because I want to percolate this September, October, maybe even through November. I want to keep looking at this. I'm going to go home and put this in my office. I want to keep looking at this, adding to it, brainstorming it, crossing stuff off, putting stuff on. It's a dynamic, organic process. And you want to keep getting those whispers out of your head, because we don't want to set goals on an emotional what? Impulse. Because that's going to be done and over with, right? As soon as it's January 2nd. So we want to keep pulling these things out. And so that's where we were as of yesterday and on day 3, and can start to fill these things in as we go from yearly to quarterly to monthly to weekly. So I've started to write some things in here on my calendar, like my daughter's school schedules, key birthdays, holidays, because this is the puzzle of what we're going to put together as we get more in depth. I've started to put a few simple goals up here, like sending a postcard to my uncle every week, right? So those reminders are up here. Daddy-daughter, my daughter and I go to the bookstore once a month, so I started to put those reminders in here for some of these goals that are goals, but they're not really something I'm going to write every day, because you're not going to write every single goal you have every day, right? But we want to start to fill these in as we do it. I have a couple possible races. I'm starting to fill that in with doing some research here and there. So this is the end game, is to put this puzzle here together, moving from through all the different levels of yearly down to daily, and having those goals become behaviors. So what we're doing today on day number 4 is we're just going to start to really put some prioritization now and some thought into, out of these categories here, what's really most important to me. Kind of like, what's the theme or what's most important to me? And I can tell you this, bar one, relationships are most important to me, but my number 1 focus every single year is in my business, because I'm self-employed, right? So priority-wise, my business comes first, is number 1. Family comes number 2. My spiritual and emotional is number 3. and my health is for this next year. Now, why is that? Because health was really big for me this year, so I'm bumping it down a little bit. I want to maintain consistency and do some of those things, but I don't have quite big, huge, aggressive goals. They're not coming out for me yet so far. So I'm going to start to prioritize these, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just start to ask ourselves, hey, what's that big, what are those yearly goals? What's one big goal out of each of these that I can pull together to really have it be congruent so that all of this works? And so we want to, and we're going to convey that into a SMART goal. And SMART goals are specific and simple, measurable and meaningful to you. They're stated as if now, and they're action oriented, and they're good for all areas. So it's all congruent here. It's reasonable and realistic, and it's timed towards what we want. If you don't have my 30 Day for Success book, all of these exercises are in there. I encourage you to get it. If you want a copy, send me a copy, or send me an email or something. I'll get you a copy. We'll figure it out. And so the bottom line is we want to start to pull out one big yearly goal from each one of these areas and really start to wrap our head around that and map that out and start to put that in. Is it going to be that big trip? Is it going to be that big money goal in business? Is it going to be, you know, some retreat for the spiritual life or whatever that is? Or some big, like this year it was the run up and down the Grand Canyon, right? You want to just pick one big thing, because the brain can't focus on 50 things at once. That's why we're writing these little ones in here. And you want to start to wrap your mind around a SMART goal for that. So a SMART goal is really simple. It's like an example of that is like I've successfully completed rim to rim to rim to rim, you know, running the Grand Canyon from May 20th to 21st, 2021. It's really simple. So now there's a lot of not emotion in that, but we want to start with the SMART goal so that then we can follow up with what's the very last thing that needs to happen in order for us to know that we've achieved that goal. But we're going to cover that more tomorrow. But the first step here is just to get a SMART goal for your big picture yearly goals. So continue to brainstorm, because this is the key. We're going to keep doing this for 2-3 months, ideally. Keep putting stuff up here and pulling out these top yearly goals and putting them into SMART goals. So continue to brainstorm, continue to work this. I am going to give you our last day tomorrow, kind of wrap it all up here, what we do. But this is the biggest part of the goal setting. Remember what I said, this is an organic process. It's just like dating, right? You're not going to ask the first girl you see to marry you. No, you're going to ask her out on dates. You're going to go do fun stuff together. You're going to keep brainstorming. What are some new things we can do? How can we put all this together? Will this work? Will it not work? Great. You make deeper and deeper commitments. You build some intimacy, right, into the relationship with what you're writing and what you're focusing on and what you're doing. And then you might be say, hey, SMART goals. Well, hey, okay, I'm engaged now, right? So you put the ring on. You're like, hey, I'm engaged. Let's figure this stuff out. And then finally, you're like, okay, right? By towards December, we're gonna say, okay, wedding date is set, right? This is it, done, committed. And so that when you say I do, it's I do. And like my wife put on the inside of my wedding ring, not only is there I do, but it's I will, right? So it's not only, you know, yes, I do, I made the commitment, but I will, meaning being engaged, I will make this happen. I will be faithful, true, all that great stuff to what I'm committing to here. So we want to really be thoughtful. I mean, this is your life, right? You don't want to build that on an emotional impulse. So keep working, keep brainstorming every single day. Keep checking in, keep checking in, keep checking in, keep writing stuff up there. If you have any questions about SMART goals, put them in the comments below. Like I said, my 30 Day for Success book has all of these exercises in it in a simple, easy, journalable way. And keep running your race, be outstanding, and we'll be back with you tomorrow for day 5. We'll wrap this up some, and you continue to be outstanding. Talk to you soon.